Greetings YouTube, we had the PlayStation 5 Showcase on the 16th and we were immediately notified that you'd be able to pre-order the console the very next day at 8 o'clock. It was like, Aah! They told us they'd give us a bit more warning than that. We didn't get much of a warning. I didn't watch the showcase, so I found out the following day after I came in from work because I work very early in the morning. And so, yeah, 8 PM my local shop said that they were going to start doing the pre-orders. Except that the shopping centre that the shop is actually inside only opens at about 10. And I was finding out about this closer to 12 o'clock. So I thought, ooh, 2 hours. They sold out of pre-orders for the console yet. So I went down there. Obviously, I'm going to give it a go. Went down there. Have you got any? Can I pre-order the PS5? And she said, yeah, okay, no problem. Thank goodness for that. They'd actually already sold out of the digital editions of the PS5 already in 2 hours. So obviously that was the more popular one, but I wanted the one with the disc drive in it anyway, so I didn't care. Pre-ordered a couple of games while I was in there as well, SpiderMan Miles Morales and the PS4 version of Cyberpunk 2077 as well, because I'm going to have a go of that. But you get a free digital upgrade for that one apparently to the PS5, so I'm going to have that on PS5 as well, I guess. I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to stick the game in the PS4 first, maybe, probably, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm sorted as far as my PS5 console is concerned. I'll have it on the 19th of November. Having said all of that, here's the showcase that I finally got round to watching. Final Fantasy XVI. Yes, I know it's 16, but it sets XVI. Seriously, just write 16. Footage of this game is a PC emulating the PS5. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that it's as good as. We get some cutscenes featuring a bunch of people, and I don't know who any of them are, so good. We get some examples of combat, fast and frantic and flashy and in real time. Whatever happened to the turn-based strategy system that they used to use? Lots of cool bosses as well and bad guys to beat up during that combat. A lot of nonsensical story stuff. I honestly stopped paying attention about halfway through. The only thing I remember is that there's a crystal involved, I think. Or is there more than one? I don't know. Medieval style this time though. I've always thought that the modern setting was a little bit weird. You know, in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, in Final Fantasy 15. Because they always run around beating enemies up with swords. In the modern era, really? All the bad guys have guns. And yet you use a sword. You're good with the sword, I'll grant you that, but they've gone with a medieval style all over this time. It makes more sense. Swords and sorcery in any case. And apparently, it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive. Except in the fine print, it also says available on PC. So it's an exclusive for PlayStation apart from the PC, which is also going to have it. What? Footage from this point on is captured from PS5 systems. It doesn't actually say from a PS5, I'm assuming it just means it's running on the same tech. Spider-Man Miles Morales, I've got this on pre-order for my PS5. Dive straight into gameplay, we've got some dancing, we've got some walking, we've got lights and lots of detail, this little fairground type selling shop marketplace, I don't know, people talking. It's apparently set 1 year later and a big oil company called Roxxon is fighting the underground, led by someone I've never heard of called the Tinkerer. We get some cool bad guy powers, which really reminded me of Blue Beetle. Yeah, I know, it's the wrong comic book franchise, but the way Blue Beetle just manifests whatever weapon or tech he needs in the moment, that's what this reminded me of, except a lot more purple. And I don't know anything about Miles Morales, which is why I was completely taken aback by the sudden red lightning powers and the invisibility. Apparently he does have those two skills that Peter Parker doesn't. Total awesomeness, and if you were really blown away by Peter Parker catching that helicopter in between two buildings, this is definitely going to remind you of that. Apparently this game is releasing in time for the holidays 2020. Why they don't just say that it's releasing in time for the PS5 release, I'm not quite sure, but it is the gameplay trailer, so whatever. Hogwarts Legacy. Set 100 years before the Potter showed up. We get a flying stagecoach and we get a tour of the grounds and the halls, and I haven't played every Harry Potter game that's ever been made, and I'm suspecting there's been quite a few of them. I don't think that Hogwarts has ever looked this good though. I mean, the candles in the main hall, particular highlight for me. Apparently this trailer, very much emphasis on you making your mark, on your choices, and this is apparently an RPG type game. So yeah, consider my interest piqued. Maybe some snippets of gameplay, the combat related stuff, but it felt mostly like a tour of the premises. Release date is sometime in 2021, so we're gonna have to wait for this one. Damn it. Looks cool. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. People talking, boring. Straight into the gameplay in Turkey. And immediately it's made clear that this game does have a campaign, because remember Black Ops 4 didn't have a campaign. Why the hell they made that decision, I will never be able to figure out. Pretty cool, grabbing the guy as a human shield, attaching a grenade to him and drop kicking him towards his buddies, using the RC car to take out the plane's landing gear and it exploding in a big explosion. It's a pretty sweet sequence. This is what Call of Duty though does best. Total off the wall, complete insanity set pieces. The multiplayer for me has always been a bit of an add-on, an afterthought, and yeah, we're going to get multiplayer and zombies of course. But it's for me, as stale as the multiplayer has gotten, the campaign is where it's at for me. Release date is in time for the holidays 2020. Resident Evil Village. Or is it Village Resident Evil? Or is it Village 8 Resident Evil? Or 8 Village Resident... I don't bloody know. It's the next Resident Evil game. Chris says take him away. I'm guessing that this isn't just a hallucination like some people thought it might be. Presumably they take him away to the village, or possibly the castle on the hilltop. We get some story points, especially the story of the girl going into the forest, and it's all very stylized, and the whole village itself and the surrounding area is very spooky. Just a local tale, yeah right. It's very evocative, as been pointed out before, of the previous Resident Evil. It's coming in 2021. I'm kind of hoping it might last a little bit longer than its predecessor. I mean, I'm no aficionado on how long Resident Evil games last, it's just a little bit longer please. Deathloop, 2 birds, 1 stone. That's the name of the trailer. So the previous Deathloop trailer made it look like you were just going on a single loop trying to take out certain targets and blasting your way through the streets and whatnot. This trailer, however, implies that there's a lot more complexity to it than first meets the eye. You can actually tweak events by interfering in them, like the example here is the scientist is working on a new project, and because of that he doesn't turn up to the party at this other place, this mansion or something. Therefore, by interfering and sabotaging his project, he ends up in the same place as the party as the guy who's hosting the party, and you take out 2 birds with 1 stone. It's pretty impressive if this is how it actually works. So forgive me for thinking that this is the trailer that piqued my curiosity the most out of all of these. It also says it's an exclusive to the PS5, but it also says it's on PC. You lying liars. Release date is sometime in Q2 next year, 2021. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, because every Devil May Cry these days needs a special edition for some reason. I was expecting Virgil to be the playable character. I was kinda hoping that Trish and Lady would be as well. I was hoping. Doesn't look like, I mean they appear momentarily in this trailer, but it doesn't look like they're going to be playable. Virgil looks like he's going to be able to change back into V at certain points and be able to launch all sorts of fancy flashy moves as a result of that. Yeah, looks fun. This one's available digitally at launch. Oddworld Soulstorm. People talking, boring. Gameplay snippets all over the place. I get the impression they've picked the mostly actiony ones. I would have preferred for some longer stretches of gameplay with puzzle solving, because after all, Oddworld is supposed to be about the puzzle solving. Yes, there's bits of action all over the place, but nevertheless. And a bit of a joke at the end, just to let us know that they haven't lost their sense of humour. That's a good thing. No release date on this, but like before, I'm still interested. I'll definitely keep my eye on it. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. I have never played any of the Five Nights at Freddy games and have absolutely no intention of ever playing them ever. Which means that this didn't exactly pique my curiosity. The only thing that did perhaps interest me is that normally you sat down in a control room pressing buttons and waiting for a jump scare. This looked more like Alien Isolation to me, where you're actually moving around. Not much more than that here. It's a teaser and there's no release date, but looks like they're getting a bit more sophisticated with these games. Demon Souls. I would be more interested in this if it wasn't for the fact that I'd played it to death back in the day. I always remember it was the fourth boss in the castle level. The guy in the white coat with the big sword in the really long gallery at the top of the castle. That fucker I never managed to beat. He was the only boss standing in my way between me and the end of the game, or possibly one other. I don't know, but that's as far as I got. I will readily admit that as much as I'm not really that interested in playing this game again, it looks way better than it used to. Way better. The gameplay, it's just one long run and one-shot kills all the way. Yeah, right, like that's ever gonna happen. Traverse the fog barrier, you get a boss, a giant demon, you died, because of course you do. I remember a lot of what I see here. Some of it has been altered, like the spider in that narrow corridor, the first boss of the underground mining area. I remember there was a little tiny alcove in the rocks to the left that you could sort of hide in and avoid his blasts. I'm just going to go out on the limb that you can't use that and say that you can't use that cheat anymore. But I do remember this. No release date again, but it's looking good. It's enticing if I hadn't actually already bought the Dark Souls trilogy recently. Fortnite. Do I have to talk about this? I guess I do, because it's in the trailer. I don't like Fortnite. I know lots of people. I can see that Fortnite is a very well put together game. I just don't like it. I've tried twice to get into it and it just doesn't happen. I don't remember vehicles being a big thing when I was playing. I remember riding around with a team of people in a golf cart, but that's about it. Release date, apparently it'll be available at launch. Oh goody. We get a quick flyby of a new PlayStation Plus benefit for PlayStation 5. And it's called the PlayStation Plus Collection. Basically, it's a bunch of games and apparently we'll get access to the entire collection at launch. I'm presuming that means for free. I'm presuming because it doesn't explicitly say that this collection will be available for free, but I think that's the implication. You pay for the PlayStation Plus membership and you get these PS4 titles for free. There's 18 of them on the list, and most of them I've already played, and quite a lot of them I still have. Obviously they went for the big sellers, the big titles. The only problem with that is, of course, that like myself, most people have already played most of them. It's the only teeny little downside. I guess that Sony had to do something to counter Xbox though, because Xbox is going to have a whole raft of games from many previous generations of consoles, so Sony had to do the equivalent, or at least as close as they could get. I know they're trying to push us towards the next generation, and that's fine, but they had to do something additionally, so this is their additional thing. PS5 console, prices, release dates, people talking, outro. Well, apart from a teeny little teaser for God of War Ragnarok, and it is a proper teeny teaser. Simple logos, but even so, just letting you know this game is a thing, out in 2021. I'm tempted to say that God of War Ragnarok piqued my interest the most by having the least. But really, for me, SpiderMan Miles Morales and what's the other one? Deathloop. Those two, for me, were the standouts of this. Again, I don't know much about Miles Morales, so the red lightning and the invisibility surprised me. So maybe that's part of it, as well as the fact that we get extended video sequences for the gameplay. But yeah, Deathloop with its extra mechanic that I didn't know about, that you'll be able to influence where the characters go and mess around with them. So that's fun. Yeah, I like what I see. I like the fact that they're showcasing these games off, that we're getting to see lots of stuff that the PS5 is going to apparently be capable of. So yeah, the console releases on the 19th of November. As I say, I've got mine pre-ordered now, and apparently it's going to be backwards compatible with PS4 games as well, as long as you've got the ability to stick the disc in the console. If you've got the digital version, you're not going to be able to play your PS4 games. I think that's how it's going to work. Don't quote me on that though. But I'm going to be able to do that. And besides which, if you have the disc-based version, you can also give the game to a friend or trade it back to the shop. You know, it gives you more options. I know it's an extra 90 quid, but I'm not bothered. I'm going to have the console for bloody ages. 450 quid at launch. I'm not bothered. I'll pay it. So yeah, that was the PlayStation 5 Showcase. Looking forward to the console and the various games therein. Yeah. 19th of November. Bookmark the date. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe and share. All that jazz. See you next time. He's excited as well. He's just not showing it. He's excited on the inside.